Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode. Welcome back to another episode. Welcome back to the channel where we embrace Africa, the channel where we remind one another about the beauty of Africa, despite where we are, but to always remember that there is home. There is a continent that needs us. There is a continent that yearns for the African child to awaken and to start embracing the things that mother continent has in order for us to make the lives that we envy, the lives that we wish we can have from a distance, not knowing that we also have the capabilities of bringing these lives to life in Africa, right? So, yeah, today I'm going to talk about a topic that's really interesting that many people might know, but to some extent, we don't remind ourselves about this. To some people, it's something new. They don't know about it. But yeah, that's why we are here. That's why we are there to remind one another and to just talk, right? So today's topic is problems are the same. Well, Leona, what do you mean by that? Problems are the same. Well, the thing is, I don't know if I'm the only one, but when I was back in Zimbabwe, I thought that out there, or Western countries, Asian countries, these diasporian countries, they don't have like problems. They are just countries which are thriving because they don't have problems, because yeah, they're just on another level of life. But to my surprise, when I came to South Korea, they do have problems. But one thing I was able to realize is our problems, some of them they could be different, or some of them they could be the same but in a different way. What do I mean? For example, political issues. Well, I'm not a politician. I'm not much deep into politics. But one thing I have understood the time I have come here, if you're someone who follows the news, I'm sure you know about the impeachment of the president and all that in South Korea. These are all scandals that we are also facing in Africa. If you talk about Zimbabwe right now, a lot of things are happening with our ruling parties, right? But from an African perspective, we've been made to feel like if we have these political issues, oh my God, it's so bad. It's like Africa is the only one which is facing these issues and all that. While it's not knowing that behind the doors, every single country has political issues. Although I should agree that maybe in Africa, the thing which just makes difference is that in Africa, our political issues kind of go to an extreme, because sometimes there could be even like bloodshed and all that, which I really do advocate someday. We are able to talk about a different story whereby our African citizens are able to speak, to share what they are feeling without fear or without being harassed or something like that, which I really do feel. But today, my point is problems are the same. You could be in Africa, you could be in Asia, you could be in the Western countries. We are nearly facing the same problems, right? At a country level. If you look this side, there are birth rate issues. If I'm to go outside, if I'm to go on the bus, nearly 3/4 of the bus is full of the elderly people. There are no children. Some excuse me, some schools have actually closed. If you are aware of some stories that are happening and all that. But well, we fail to see the goodness of Africa, right? Whereby we still have the power, the skill, the young skill of young people. And this is the same thing that we should be able to remind one another and to give ourselves strength towards and motivation towards knowing that we still have one of the most useful resources that we could have on earth. That's human resource, right? In as much as there's now like what do you call this, uh like technology, robots and all that, but to some extent I believe that some things are never going to be replaceable with robots. So Africa, we still have the chance of having the minds to use. We still have the human capital to use at our full resource and at our full potential. But to some extent, we are not seeing this. At the same time, some countries have become so clever that they are taking that human resource, which is in Africa, and using it in their countries. But we are not aware of that. And these are things that are happening every single time. The moment you feel like Mother Africa is not giving me enough, let me run there, let me go there, while least you're investing your energy in the development of other countries, while least we are neglecting our own African country. If I were in Africa, seeing people selling things on the street side, like vendor selling and all that, I would think this is only happening in Africa. But let me tell you, even here in Korea, there are people who sell, they are street vendors as well, right? They are street vendors as well. There are people, one time I was coming from Taiwan and I was going to, unfortunately, my flight was delayed. So I arrived in Seoul at midnight and I had to go to the bus terminal so that I was able to catch up the morning KTX train to Busan. And I was shocked to see that there are also people who don't have houses, homeless people in South Korea who are living on the streets as well. So, guys, I think to some extent we have been made to feel like when things happen in Africa, oh my God, this is very bad. Oh my God, this is something unbelievable, unexplainable, or it's the worst of the worst things. But not knowing that these things do also happen even in developed countries. So, to some extent, I think it's our mindset, how we adopt, how we are able to take advantage of some situations for our good. And I think I'm also against the idea of publicizing some things in Africa. If you get to realize that some of these things that I'm telling you, some of them you now know them because I'm telling you because I've come here. But these are things that are never shown to us in the public. So the same, the message I have for you today, African child, stop publicizing some things that give a bad image about Africa. Why not start looking at things that give a good mindset to people about Africa? Why taking the worst sides of Africa to publicize? Why not start taking the good sides of Africa that people do not know, that people want to hide, that people do not want them to be on the open, so that Africa is given the rightful description that it should have on this earth? So, guys, I think it's high time for you and me as African children to start painting the good picture that we want people to associate Africa with. The moment someone asks you, even you are in the diaspora, I've heard many people, they're being asked, oh, how is Africa? They start giving negative things. Oh, Africa is bad. Oh, Africa is this. Oh, Africa is this. If you are going to say that you are an African, then who is going to say the good things about Africa? Then who is going to paint the good stuff that you are leaving out about Africa? Do you think that white man, that white person that you're telling um, all your problems about Africa is going to come and solve African problems? No, they are not. They are continuously happy that you are running away and coming in order to feed them with skills, in order to feed them with labor in the workforce that they don't want to go into. Now, Africans, we have to go and replace those workforces. Why? Because we are just failing to appreciate some of the good stuff that the African continent has to offer as a whole, that Africa, motherland, has to offer as a whole. I will keep saying this. It's only when we are able to unlearn, to relearn, and to learn things about Africa, to appreciate things about Africa. Only then are we going to be able to start building a better future, to start building a brighter Africa. Because I believe sometimes we can only solve things if we become aware of what's happening. Only then are you able to take the next step. Because I believe all this while we are in Africa yet blind to the things that are in Africa, to the things that are accessible in Africa. And my dear friends, brothers and sisters, if we are blind, I'm sure you would agree with me that we do not have any future. We do not have any opportunity to create or to move the next step. Ask someone who is in the diaspora right now, people who are in the UK, in the US, the number of homeless people living on the streets that we do not know about. Why? Because they are clever enough to show the things that are attractive, the things that are beautiful, that will make you want to come. Only then when you are there, you start seeing that no, there are other things. If I'm to tell you right now, fruits, I have to think twice, not even twice, maybe 5 times before I make a decision to go and buy fruits, vegetables. They are super expensive. If I mean super, super expensive. In the season of mangoes, I remember 4 mangoes were costing $9. Strawberries, bananas. For you to be able to eat fruits, it's like once in a blue moon as a foreigner. I remember taking Korean classes. Even my Korean professor was saying like some of the fruits she cannot eat, but only like maybe bananas, which we can eat because bananas are cheap, but still, in my own point of view, they're expensive because I can't have uh 4 or 5 bananas like for 4, 5, 6 bananas for $2 something. Some shops even $3 something. But this is the cheapest that we can get. But let's go back to Africa. Let's go back to motherland. Guys, we're just taking for granted some things that we do not know, unfortunately, because we've been brainwashed or because we just do not know. Maybe we are not exposed or something like that. But I'm just here to tell you that problems are the same. Problems might not be the exact same, but in Zimbabwe, we would say, kana usina imwe namo une imwe yacho. Just meaning that if you don't have one problem, you have the other one. You can't be free. Let's look at suicidal rates in Asian countries, in other countries, not just Asia alone, but in many other countries. But in Africa, we are happy. Majority of us are happy if they is someone who is to commit suicide. That's like the headline, the story of the year, because it's something rare. So it's high time for you to choose the things that you want to let in, the information that you want to let in, the energy that you want to let out, the information that you want to let out about Africa as an African origin, as an African child, and as an African future. Because Africa's future is in our hands. What we are going to build today, what we are going to make today, I tell you, our children and children to come, they have somewhere to start from. That's the thing we do not understand, because all these other countries, they've also been able to understand that mindset of general wealth, generational wealth. What they have built today is what their children are coming to build and to add on top of. So, yeah, if you have stayed till this far, if you are enjoying some of this enlightenment, this content, please share, like, subscribe, and don't forget to share. Don't forget to comment. I mean, the moment we are able to interact in the comment section down below, there's just more light and more opportunity to hear what we think as Africans, what you have experienced, and all that, which is going to make a good communication and a good ground for us to build a better future, not only for you and me, but for Africa as a whole. Have a good day and stay blessed. Till we meet again. Bye.